The final part of the value chain for delivering these services is the call center. And as Mr. Tomoyama mentioned, one of the characteristics in China is the need for licenses to be able to operate and provide telematics services. And these licenses are controlled by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in China. And to provide a telematics service, we basically need 4 licenses. The first one is Telematics Content Provider. And this license, we understand, could be very difficult for a foreign call center owner to get. So if we are going to provide a telematics service in China, it could be much simpler to get these licenses if we're working with a local partner rather than a foreign company trying to establish a call center. Because these services are going to be charged either on a pay-as-you-go basis or a subscription, or the charge is built into the vehicle, you also need a license for value-added telecommunication services. And then if one of the solutions for telematics could be to have a single call center to receive calls from across China. And if you want to have a single national call center, you need a special 5-digit telephone number that starts with 95. So we need a license from the government to have a 95XXX license for a national call center. And finally, yet another license is required for multi-party conference calls. So you can imagine if there's a crash and there's an e-call from the vehicle to the call center, and the call center wants to make a multi-party call to the PSAP, then you would need this license here to be allowed to make these kind of multi-party conference calls. Second area of complication for delivering telematics in China is the PSAP infrastructure, which is very distributed, it's not so well organized, and it can be very difficult to make contact with the PSAPs in the different regions of China. So if we have a telematics call center is based in Beijing, if it wants to contact the PSAP in Beijing, it would normally use 110. It can also add the regional dialing code for other cities. So to contact the PSAP in Shanghai, it could add 021, the dialing code for Shanghai, and dial 110 to contact the PSAP. But for around 30% of PSAPs, they do not allow this kind of contact between a call center and the PSAPs. So the only way around this is to be able to get the direct dial telephone number to be able to call the PSAP from wherever you are in China. The restriction on this, though, is that it's not so easy to get these numbers. And typically, if you're not licensed, then probably you've got no chance to get these numbers. If you are licensed, then it's not guaranteed, but at least you have the basic starting point to be able to try to talk to the PSAPs to get their direct dial numbers. So the partner which Toyota is working with, well, the brand name now is 95190, and you can recognize this is the 5-digit 95 number that they've been awarded as a national call center license. And 95190 has also managed to get all of the direct dial PSAP numbers. So they should be in a very good position to provide e-call services in China. And I've just made a note at the bottom. You may have previously heard of a company called Me2You. Me2You and 95190 are very closely linked, but they've now separated into different companies, and it's 95190, which is the call center provider for Toyota in China. So by contrast, OnStar is in the process of trying to develop its own call center, but as a foreign-owned company, we understand that it could be very difficult for them to get the necessary licenses and also to get the direct dial telephone numbers for PSAPs in China. And a couple of other names that could be mentioned for call centers in China are Connexus and Mondial. Both of these have some experience of telematics call center business in Europe, and I think they'll be very keen to develop that business also in China. So to try to make some kind of forecast for where we see the market for telematics, for heavy telematics in China, we've made some estimates based on what we believe will be launched over the next 4 to 5 years. And we expect by around 2013, around 400 to 500,000 telematics systems could be sold each year. Now this sounds quite a large number, especially from a very low starting point where we are at the minute. But the number of new vehicles sold in China in this time will be around 12 million. So we're talking around maybe 5%, 4 to 5% of vehicles could be fitted with a heavy telematics system within the next 5 years. So even the market has started, Toyota was the first, and other people will join to the market. It's still going to remain, we believe, a niche market for the foreseeable future. And one of the main reasons is the cost. Either the cost has to be included in the vehicle price, or eventually the customer would have to pay for it. But the cost of a heavy telematics system with a DCM, a network operator, and some of the call center services that are required makes this an expensive solution. And this is one of the items that, as a company, SBD is very interested to try to do more research. And later this year and next year, we are actually starting our own end-user survey into what Chinese consumers think about telematics. But because it's such a new concept, most people in China are not aware of telematics. They don't necessarily understand the features. So rather than just asking them what do they think, we are going to organize some test drives for premium vehicle owners and mass market vehicle owners so they can experience telematics, and we can find out after they've experienced telematics what their intentions are for the future. We're also planning to interview existing users of telematics systems and the dealers that sell the systems and that have regular contact with the customers. So we're currently in the planning stage for this, but if this could be of interest to you, then please speak to me afterwards or come to visit our booth, and we'd be pleased to share with you our plans and give you more information.